Hello, welcome to this update for the Atlantic. So let's see what's happening. So we still have these three areas there, and one is code red array in the Caribbean. Sorry, a 30 and a 70% chance of development there. So a broad area of low pressure is likely to develop over the southwestern Caribbean during the next day or so. A gradual development of the system is possible thereafter, and tropical depression is likely to form late this weekend or early next week, while the system drifts generally west northward or west northwestward over the central western Caribbean Sea. Regardless of development, locally heavy rainfall is possible in portions of the adjacent land areas of western Caribbean, like northern Colombia, especially Panama, Costa Rica, and near other parts of Central America too. So please be careful. There's this yellow guy here at 10%, so it likely won't form into anything of its own, but it might try to merge with this other low pressure. So a tropical low pressure located near Puerto Rico is producing a large area of showers and thunderstorms over the Greater Antilles and adjacent waters of the Atlantic, Northeastern Caribbean. Slow development of the system is possible during the next few days as it moves west-northwestward near the Greater Antilles. After that time, the system is expected to be absorbed into the low pressure in the Caribbean. Regardless of development, locally heavy rainfall is possible during the next several days in the northern Leeward Islands across Puerto Rico and Hispaniola and eastern Cuba. So that's like the main threat, the rainfall. So be aware. And there's now this orange guy there near the Azores. So a low pressure located a few hundred miles west of the Azores has been producing increased convection near its center over the past few hours. Earlier satellite-derived wind data depicted winds up to storm force mainly south of the center. Environmental conditions appear favorable for some additional development of the system, and it could become a subtropical or tropical storm as it moves generally eastward during the next few days. Interested in the Azores should monitor the progress of the system. So be aware, 40% better monitor this in the Azores. So let's see, there's the Eastern Pacific, some invests. There's this area here, shows 30% chance and air low pressure could form well shore the southwestern coast of Mexico during the early to middle part of next week. Afterwards, some slow development is possible as it drifts slowly east-northeastward. So yeah, and there's this area here at 60%, so the probabilities this morning were only at like 30%, so it rose a lot. And then let's see, short-term storm activity associated with an area low pressure, low located 1,000 miles southwest of southern tip of Baja California Peninsula, has become better organized today. Tropical depression could form during the next couple of days while it moves westward. But by late this weekend, however, environmental conditions will be less conducive for development. So you'll just be there, lost in the ocean. So be aware. And this is the invest on the Eastern Pacific there. I don't know why they don't have this as an invest yet, but they soon will. And let's see what the models show in the Atlantic there. So there's like the system near the Azores. It does show it getting to like 991 millibars. That will be like tropical storm strength, but because it is over colder waters, not sure if you'll be classified because of the structure and everything. But the GFS is the low pressure trying to organize in the Caribbean, and shows that other blob of moisture near Puerto Rico and the southwestern Atlantic does try to get a low pressure there from time to time, but not really forms into anything. But it eventually forms the one in the Caribbean. Now it has a passing between Jamaica and Hispaniola and kind of scraping Cuba and going into the Gulf and back down to the Yucatan and then into southern Texas. But luckily the GFS weakens this a lot before landfall there. But this hasn't even formed yet, and we still don't know almost anything. So let's just see the forecast and everything, but not like freak out yet. So, and later after that, it does have those shock waves and some blobs of moisture near the southern central Atlantic there, and then it does drift eastward, and the GFS does try to form another system in the central northern Atlantic there on like November 17th, but that's far out and might stay out to sea. So let's see the European model. There's like the COZ. It shows the system near the Azores. Alright, it shows a 983 millibars or something, 986. So that pressure is already tropical storm strength, but it's not tropical. But it might quickly acquire some subtropical characteristics or even tropical. Then it shows passing just south of the Azores there. Got watching the Azores for some gusty winds maybe and some rainfall. And then it goes there, might pass near Spain and Portugal, leave some showers. And then after that, if you are in the Azores, it does still show more fronts in the Azores, especially November 5th shows another system and another small front on the 8th. So yeah, gotta watch for those systems. But meanwhile, in the Caribbean, it does have the blob of moisture just north of the Greater Antilles, and the one in the Caribbean, it does try to get a low pressure forming there, might get to a depression or something, but now the European ones, maybe a weak storm to form in the southern Gulf there, near the Yucatan, but still very weak. It still has something like very, very weak. There's the icon too, shows the blob of moisture in the southwestern Caribbean, does slowly develop, passes Jamaica, and then does have the same path as the GFS, like going through Cuba into the Gulf. But this time it goes into the northern Gulf, not the western Gulf. But that's kind of a disorganized system by the looks of it, so not even the icon has anything strong. And it does have some more waves of moisture across the eastern Caribbean, especially November 7th in the northeastern Caribbean shows more rain, and yeah, those areas, so be aware. It does have the storm near the Azores, uh, might quickly become something, but it doesn't show much as well. It shows like not really tropical. And then there's the Canadian model, shows the system near the Azores. There's that front ahead of it, already brings some gusty rainfall there, and then goes there, passes south, and kind of dies. And the Caribbean does have the system forming, passing like near eastern Jamaica and Haiti, and then having a very similar path to the GFS and the icon, passes just south of Cuba and into the Gulf. This path is like exactly like the icon, and it goes like into the northern Gulf, but a little bit disorganized too. So uh, most models are like trending on this. This might be like the latest trend. There's the Navgen as well. The storm in the Azores, the other disturbance just north of Hispaniola. The does show low pressure there, but nothing actually getting strong, and does form the one near Jamaica and passes through Cuba and a similar path into the Gulf there. So we better watch that, but none of the models show this getting very strong. Most of them have a very weak system, so yeah, we watch, but nothing that crazy. There's the European AI model, does show a tropical storm forming just west of Jamaica and heading into the Gulf as a tropical storm. So this AI model is a little bit stronger, but still like a weak to mid-range tropical storm. No hurricane or anything. So let's see some ensembles here, like the COZ maybe from today. To this is the GFS, so let's just put 240 hours because more than that is too much still. So it does have the system in the Azores, some members showing those winds stronger there, close to 50 and even 60 knots at the starting point there, but like some 40 to 50 knots. So this might quickly become something there. It has the system, the Caribbean kind of goes, passes Jamaica, it might go into the Gulf. Some ensembles go near the Western Gulf, some towards Florida. And it has that mass of ensembles just north of Hispaniola because of that disturbance there, and it has some stuff on the Eastern Pacific too, and some other features. So let's highlight all the features. There's the one near the Azores. There's this blob of mass here in the Central Atlantic that might become some lost low pressures out there in the Atlantic, and there's the one in the Caribbean there, and the one just north of Hispaniola. So these are like the systems that the GFS is watching. But our main thing to watch is, of course, the Caribbean one. That might affect parts of Jamaica, Central America, Cuba, and even the Gulf. So, yeah, let's see the European ensembles now. So, the European is more quiet on the rest of the Atlantic. It's like a member or two showing something, but it's fairly quiet. There's the one near the Azores. It does show support for this like becoming something quick, but it's like it's not in a tropical environment, so we still don't know if that would form or not. But it does have a lot of support in the Caribbean there. It has like passing just south of Jamaica or through Jamaica and going most members going to the Yucatan and then to the southwestern Gulf, but some go up into Florida or Mississippi, Louisiana, but most going to the Yucatan and towards Mexico maybe. So there's definitely more support today from the European than some days ago, but still nothing defined. So we'll keep watching this. There are the tropical storm probabilities from the European model. As you can see, it has like 100% tropical storm probabilities in that system, the Azores. That's mainly because of the winds there, because there are storm force winds. So it it sees that as a storm already, but we'll see if you get classified or not. So there's that system there. It keeps going, and then by November 5th, it does have some 10 to 20% probabilities just south of Jamaica in the southwestern Caribbean. By November 6th, some 20 to 30% probabilities there. November 7th, it rises all the way to 40 to 50% in that green near the Cayman Islands. So those are some decent tropical storm probabilities. Doesn't show anything that crazy, but those are definitely some probabilities to watch. And then later, that green area grows, that 40 to 50%, likely going into the Yucatan or in the Southern Gulf. Then it keeps going there, and the Europeans has been trending more like Southwestern Gulf. So be aware those areas. Those are the tropical storm probabilities. Tropical depression probabilities are already at 80%, some 80 to 90% in the southwestern Caribbean by November 4th, and like 100% in the storm in the Azores. But yeah, and then it has some 10 to 20% just north of Puerto Rico too, with the other disturbance, and some stuff in the main development region, but that's like at too low in the latitude to form something, but who knows. So let's see, by November 5th, it does have the area in the Caribbean, a big area of 80 to 90% tropical depression probabilities. So those are some very decent tropical depression probabilities, like 80 to 90%. Then November 6th is still that blue area, some 80 to 90% chance there. Then it keeps going, likely affects Jamaica or Northern Central America, or even Cuba, and then goes there, still 80 to 90% by November 7th, and then it just keeps going there. And later, it's interesting to highlight, they has that system from the main development region, the tropical wave, does go into the Caribbean and get like some 20 to 30% tropical depression probabilities by November 12th. So as you can see, those yellow spots, but that's kind of far out, and we don't know much yet. So yeah, let's just put the hurricane probabilities just for curiosity, but I doubt there will be any. So let's see, November 6th, November 7th, 8th. It does have some 5% hurricane probabilities, like the Central Gulf, but and even some 10% in the orange, but doesn't really grow much. And then by November 11th, it goes to the southwestern Gulf and dissipates. So it does have like 10% hurricane probabilities, but in a very small scale. So nothing to like worry about yet. The only thing you should worry about is the heavy rains due to causing Central America, and potentially the next places that will be affected, which might be Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, as this forms around there, and even Cuba. So yeah, be aware. So the next 5 days, it does have still those very big amounts of rainfall in Panama, in Costa Rica, parts of Jamaica. It has this passing just east of Jamaica, near Haiti, and then maybe affecting Cuba or the Cayman Islands. But still, it has like in Panama some 400 millimeters, almost 500 millimeters, near southern Costa Rica some 300, 200 millimeters. So please be careful there, especially in Panama. But it's hard for the models to know the exact spot that the rain will be the heaviest. But if you are like in central northern Panama and most of Costa Rica, you should be aware of this, because trust me, you don't want to mess with flash floods. They can be very deadly. So be careful in the periods of heavy rainfall. Southern Panama does show some spots of close to 200 millimeters too, and near northern Colombia, those like 136, 263 millimeters. So be aware. Then it has this forming passing just east of Jamaica, but close to 100 millimeters in southern and eastern Jamaica too. Then it has like westernmost Haiti, some 100 millimeters. And if I put this until the 10th, it has this passing like through the Cayman Islands, close to 100 millimeters, passes near the northern Yucatan and into the western Gulf. So yeah, and in the other areas there, it does have more rain in the Turks and Caicos from the other disturbance, some 69 millimeters. Northeastern Cuba is close to 100 millimeters, so be aware there. It shows more throughout Hispaniola, so some 40 to 50, even 60 millimeters. Puerto Rico, some 40 millimeters. So yeah, shows more in the northeastern Caribbean, so some 49 millimeters, 41 millimeters, and some other areas of the lesser Antilles. So be aware, because nothing crazy, but those periods of some occasional showers and thunderstorms, especially in Barbados, parts of Guadeloupe, and northeastern Caribbean there. And let's see, does have more stuff in the Pacific near Guatemala, some 84 millimeters, some storms in El Salvador, in Honduras, Nicaragua, especially northeastern Nicaragua, northwestern actually, and shows Costa Rica there. So be careful in those areas. The next 5 days area shows 100 millimeters near West End, the Cayman Islands, and be careful. So now let's see like day by day. So this is the rest of today until Saturday, until the end of Saturday. So in the next day and 4 hours. So next day and 4 hours, there's some 79 millimeters in Panama, some spots of high accumulation in Costa Rica. So there will be more storms there in the next day or so. But now if I put this between Sunday and Monday, like the rainfall for Sunday, does show a little bit more building up in southern Panama and other areas there, but not really that much yet. On Monday the 4th is when things start climbing. So the Europeans more than 300 millimeters in parts of northern Panama just on Monday the 4th. Like the night between Monday and Tuesday, that doesn't really show much, but may start Monday morning there. And then Tuesday to Wednesday shows more in Costa Rica there, and next Wednesday to Thursday this goes away already. But if I put the accumulation between late Sunday into Tuesday, is when most of that heavy rainfall will likely occur. So be careful in those areas. There's the GFS as well, because the GFS has the worst rain near Costa Rica, like western Costa Rica, and the European has the worst rain right between Costa Rica and Panama. So that's why it's a little bit tricky to know the precise spot that it will be worse. But just be careful in all of those areas. So the GFS like 300 millimeters, parts westernmost Costa Rica, 309, 397 millimeters. So please be careful there. Shows more around central Costa Rica, most of western Costa Rica, some heavier downpours. Shows more like in Panama too, northern Panama more than 200 100 millimeters, and also some southern Panama near Chiman, San Miguel, not areas there. So be aware. And it does have some northern Colombia, but not nearly as much as the European. That because the GFS is a little bit further out to see from Colombia than the European. But yeah, be careful. Now there's the icon. The icon has a port like 500 millimeters in Costa Rica, 506, 499. So the icon is very crazy there. If this happened, it could cause some like life-threatening flooding in some of those areas. But we still don't know how it will play out. But anyways, you should be ready for anything there. Better not wait to see what will happen. Just be ready. And shows like some parts of southern Panama, northern Panama more than 100, 200 millimeters, and those areas are like southern Panama as well. So be careful. Shows more in some islands near Bighorn Island, close to 100 millimeters. Shows more in the Pacific of Guatemala, southern Mexico, some higher accumulation. And then the icon has this forming going right into eastern Cuba there, close to 200 millimeters, 170 millimeters at the coast. And then this goes, yeah, it doesn't have much in Jamaica. It has this passing mainly east of Jamaica. But be careful in Central America there. Let's just see the time frame for this. So Sunday, alright, shows some heavy rain in Panama on Sunday, but it'll be really on Monday, the 4th, where shows that big downpours in Costa Rica. So be careful on Monday, the 4th. And let's maybe see here like if there's any other good models. So like North America, Caribbean, there's the Canadian model. Shows I showed you that, but it showed like the heavy rain there going throughout Costa Rica and Panama, especially like Sunday. The Canadians worst on Sunday, some into Monday too. Shows some other storms near El Salvador, southern Honduras, and Nicaragua from time to time. So be aware. The rain accumulation, it takes a while to load here, but it will load soon, and we take a look. But now let's see maybe some wind gusts. So this hasn't formed yet, but let's see some other winds. A little bit windier parts of the Turks and Caicos in some areas near the Pacific too. And then shows those slightly stronger gusts continues in the southern Bahamas on Sunday, Monday, especially sometimes on Sunday in the southern Bahamas, some stronger gusts. Then it shows this starting to form there, a little bit gusty around it, and then it goes in potentially forms there in the Gulf. That's according to the European. The GFS forms this earlier there, passing near Jamaica and Cuba, and then goes there. And if this happens, this might affect the Keys and many parts of Cuba. So be aware. The waves are a little bit larger near the Turks and Caicos and Bahamas, close to 2 to 3 meters because of that wind, but nothing that crazy either. But when this forms, they might be larger near Jamaica and Haiti. But that's the GFS. The European barely has any waves because it has this forming layer. But it does have on Monday like 2 meter waves near the Cayman Islands. So be aware. And the icon has some bigger stuff on the Pacific there. So yeah, be aware. And what's happening? So yeah, here. So be aware there. So now loaded. So here's the rain accumulation from the Canadian until Wednesday the 6th, so in the next 6 days or something. So it does show there in Panama and Costa Rica those blacks and even yellows. So that's close to 21 inches there. That would be like 400 millimeters or something, parts of southern Costa Rica, but it has the worst in Panama there. So yeah, really be careful. Those areas uh, have a plan to like stay safe if flooding strikes, and be careful because most models are indicating that there will be a lot of rain there. So let's see. Yeah, so be aware. So yeah, I was trying to put in millimeters there, but they only have inches. I think they have in millimeters for some other stuff. So be aware there. As you can see, the rainfall map of the European does show those showers and storms there near Panama, northern Colombia, and Costa Rica, especially on Sunday and Monday. Shows very heavy on Monday, the 4th, and Tuesday. So, but throughout all these days, there'll be storms there. Some isolated to scattered storms in Guatemala too, and Honduras, the eastern coast of Mexico too. Might be some thunderstorms, so be careful those areas. Now, let's just see if there's something else kind of important, or if this is it. Maybe some like some more interesting graphics here. So it is not true that here. So let's see like some sea surface temperatures. Where this might form there does show some 29 to 30 degrees Celsius near just south of Jamaica and some areas. So some good temperatures for this to form. The ocean heat content right where it will pass over is very tremendous ocean heat content there. So like 150 plus. But most most models only have something very weak, so the other conditions in the atmosphere aren't very favorable for it to take full advantage of that ocean heat content. So you'll most likely be something weak, but with that amount of heat in the ocean, you never know. Be aware. And what else? They have some flood watches in Puerto Rico there, and some in the Dominican Republic, some flood warnings because of that a little bit heavy rainfall. So be careful. As you can see on the satellite, it does show some storms near the Virgin Islands in some areas, and right in Panama, some storms there. So be aware, and this is mainly it. So we'll keep monitoring this system and making updates. Be careful with the heavier rainfall there, and just monitor this if you are in the path, like in Jamaica, Cuba, the Cayman Islands, or even the Yucatan and the Gulf. Just closely monitor this, but nothing to get scared yet. So let's see. Just for the Eastern Caribbean, shows those showers and storms now there, but shows those other tropical waves there. Might be some showers or storm or two on Monday the 4th. Shows more tropical waves, might bring occasional rainfall during November 6th, more November 7th, November 8th. Does show some more showers there. So yeah, be aware, but nothing that crazy too. If I put this until November 10th, show like some 80 millimeters in Barbados in the next 8 days, close to 100 millimeters some other areas. So there will be those occasional tropical waves there. So be aware. In other areas, choose some showers, the northern Bahamas, a storm or two, and more in the southern Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. A storm or two in the Yucatan. In Belize, shows some rain there.